We are not the first species on Earth. The Pacific is supposed to be silent. At depths where sunlight has never touched, only the pressure of water and the slow drift of currents exist. But in June of 2025, silence breaks. A monitoring cable, stretching across the vast Polynesian triangle, begins to hum. Not a glitch, not static interference, a pulse, 3 notes, 5, 3, 2, then again, then again. A rhythm steady as a heartbeat, echoing from nearly 4,000 meters down. At first, technicians assume whale song or undersea quakes, but the frequency doesn't match biology, and the spacing doesn't fit geology. The pulses are too perfect, too deliberate. Within hours, independent hydrophones in Tonga, Kiribati, and Hawaii confirm the same beat, all arriving in synchrony. The Pacific, it seems, is singing with intent. An archaeologist on Pohnpei stares at the waveform in disbelief. He overlays it with the map of Nan Madol, the lost basalt city rising from the lagoon nearby. The alignment of its massive stone pillars matches the same 5:3:2 ratio. Half a world away, on Easter Island, the ancient Rongorongo glyphs spiral into patterns that eerily mirror the rhythm. Even the statues, the moai, stand facing the sea, as if listening. That night, a Japanese research sub filming the Clarion-Clipperton seabed captures something stranger still. A manganese-coated metallic slab, its corners rounded like machined steel, lying buried for millennia. When sonar strikes it, the slab hums faintly, in the same rhythm. Legends resurface. Polynesian chants once spoke of cities beneath the waves that sang to the storms. Stories dismissed as myth. But now, myths are converging with evidence. Scientists whisper, is this a forgotten civilization encoded into the sea, or something not human calling from the trench? The Pacific's heartbeat continues. 5-3-2, 5-3-2, a call or perhaps a warning. Then, without transition, the rhythm shifts, translating into a string of Roman numerals carved not in stone but in sound. The Pacific is not only vast, it is a labyrinth of sound. Beneath its waves lies a hidden highway known as the SOFAR channel, a natural acoustic tunnel where sound can travel for thousands of miles without fading. Submarines use it, whales rely on it, and now the strange 5-3-2 rhythm seems to live inside it. Oceanographers from 3 nations begin triangulating the pulses. Their models converge on a corridor between the Tonga-Kermadec Trench and the Mariana Trench, a seismic highway where tectonic plates collide. But something is off. The rhythm doesn't just echo randomly, it bends, bouncing toward islands with ancient mysteries. On Tonga, elders tell of ancestors who heard the hand of the sea knocking on their canoes before storms. The rhythm, they say, meant a warning. On Rapa Nui, a forgotten chant speaks of 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, then silence, mirroring the beat. Across Micronesia, the basalt ruins of Nan Madol stand aligned in clusters of 5, 3, and 2. Coincidence or design? To test the phenomenon, the team lowers an underwater speaker into the channel, playing back the pulse. At first, nothing. Then, 20 minutes later, the ocean replies. Not an echo, a variation. The same 3-beat sequence shifted upward almost like harmony. It is call and response. Someone, or something, deep below is listening and answering. The reply is recorded, analyzed, slowed down. Within the harmonics, a startling anomaly emerges. Hidden in the waves are 3 extra frequencies, faint but steady. They are not natural harmonics, nor animal infrasound. They match the oscillations of modern alternating current, the same hum produced by human power grids across the world. The implication terrifies the team. How could a signal buried deep in the Pacific abyss contain the heartbeat of human civilization? Is the trench mirroring us, learning from us, or has it been watching longer than we realize? The lead scientist leans into the spectrogram, his voice almost a whisper. It's not just noise, it's intelligence. The next response doesn't come as sound at all. It arrives as a shape, drawn by glowing plankton on the surface, a spiral pointing toward the deepest canyon of all. The spiral of light on the ocean's surface is no accident. Satellite footage confirms it. Billions of bioluminescent plankton swirled into a shape too precise for currents. A spiral with 3 arms, each curving into the trench like a cosmic fingerprint. The pattern points toward a section of the Tonga Kermadec Ridge, where sonar has long returned ghost echoes, shapes dismissed as natural seafloor. A multinational expedition is launched. The ROV descends into darkness, its floodlights cutting through black water. At 3,600 meters, the feed stabilizes and reveals walls. Not coral, not volcanic extrusion, but basalt columns, stacked in hexagonal precision like those of Ireland's Giant's Causeway, except these rise in arches and vaults, arranged deliberately into chambers. The deeper the ROV ventures, the stranger the acoustics. Its sensors pick up low vibrations, frequencies tuned to human brainwaves, the alpha state of dreaming. It is as if the walls themselves were designed to resonate with thought. The crew calls it the Basalt Library, a name whispered with both awe and fear. Within one chamber, the camera captures something extraordinary, glyphs carved into stone, but not by hand. They appear etched by water and heat, as though written in flowing basalt itself. When the ROV's light strikes them, the carvings glow faintly, shimmering like wet ink. Linguists aboard the ship freeze. Several symbols match fragments of the Rongorongo script of Easter Island, a language no one has ever fully decoded. Coincidence? Or proof of a knowledge system shared across vast oceans in a forgotten age? As the ROV hovers, a tremor ripples through the trench. The basalt pillars vibrate, producing a haunting chord that shakes the speakers on the ship above. Not random, not collapse. It's a sequence, a progression of tones. The crew realizes the library is not silent stone, but an instrument, built to sing back when struck by sound. The chief diver whispers, "It's playing with us." Then, through the static, a single line of the glowing glyphs rearranges itself, spelling a word no one expected. Remember. The word remember lingers on the monitors, glowing faintly in molten strokes. The ROV drifts closer, and suddenly the glyphs ripple, alive, not carved but formed by a living biofilm of microorganisms clinging to the basalt. These microbes pulse with light, rearranging themselves when exposed to sound, as if their entire colony is a memory drive, written in salt and flesh. The crew tests a hypothesis. They broadcast the 5-3-2 rhythm once more. The microbes respond immediately, reshaping into spirals and branching lines, diagrams more than words. One spiral expands outward, then collapses inward, pointing toward a nearby hydrothermal vent field, mapped decades earlier but never explored. The ROV follows the signal. Heat signatures rise, currents twist, and then the camera sees it. A black smoker chimney unlike any other. Instead of jagged mineral growth, its base is framed by cut basalt blocks, fused with a glass-like mortar. Even through grainy feed, the symmetry is unmistakable. And there, at the foot of the vent, an arched gate. 10 meters tall, its edges rounded, its keystone etched with the same glyphs now glowing faintly in rhythm with the trench's pulse. The team is silent. It looks less like geology and more like architecture, built to withstand centuries beneath crushing water. They broadcast the rhythm again. The basalt gate shudders, not from hinges, not from machinery, but from resonance. The sound itself vibrates the structure into motion. Slowly, impossibly, the arch begins to part, its stones shifting like living muscle. The gate does not open outward or inward. It folds. The basalt walls ripple as if melting, rearranging into a circular portal. Beyond is not darkness, but a surface smooth and curved, reflecting light like polished obsidian. The ROV's lens focuses. It is not stone, not glass, not metal. Something stranger. A mirror that doesn't show the present. The surface flickers with images. Skyscrapers half submerged, satellites burning in the sky, a shoreline crumbling beneath waves. The abyss is not showing the past, it is showing our future. The obsidian lens hums faintly as the ROV drifts before it. For a heartbeat, the surface shows only rippling shadows. Then the images sharpen, not ruins of the past, but scenes that have not yet happened. A skyline appears, Hong Kong, unmistakable. But the harbor is swollen, skyscrapers half drowned by water. Switch, New York, its streets dark, only the tops of bridges visible above the tide. Switch again, Tokyo, smothered by storms, neon signs flickering through driving rain. Each vision stretches only seconds before dissolving back into static, but together they form a prophecy, a future swallowed by the sea. At first, the crew argues, could the mirror be distorting fragments from satellites, deep-sea cables, or surveillance feeds? Yet, none of the angles match. These are not existing broadcasts. They are perspectives no camera has ever captured. Then, something more chilling. Among the images appear fragments of them, the expedition crew, faces strained, eyes wide, sitting aboard the very ship they're on. But in the vision, alarms blare, lights strobe, water floods the control room. Their future, playing seconds ahead. The chief scientist realizes the truth. The 5-3-2 pulse is not a signal broadcast outward. It is a recording rhythm, an archive of electromagnetic noise absorbed by the trench for millennia. Every lightning strike, every sonar ping, every radio broadcast, every hum of the modern grid, captured, mirrored, stored in salt and stone. The abyss has been listening, waiting, and now it has begun to play back. The biofilm glyphs shift again, glowing brighter than before. The letters crystallize into a single phrase, simple, commanding, undeniable, return the truth. On deck, the ocean itself seems to pulse. Waves rise in rhythm, slapping the hull with 5-3-2. The Pacific does not whisper anymore. It demands. Coordinates scroll across the mirror's surface, not leading to another trench, but to a point on land, beneath a major coastal city. The coordinates point not to another abyss, but to land, a shoreline city alive with millions. Beneath its bay, divers discover shards of pottery, their edges fused into glass by impossible heat. When lifted to the surface and scanned, the fragments reveal something astonishing. Carvings of human forms with gills and webbed hands. At first, skeptics laugh. Folk art, ritual symbolism, nothing more. But the dating analysis silences them. The shards are at least 12,000 years old, fired in kilns that should not have existed during that age. Anthropologists revisit old myths scattered across Oceania, tales of the second people, men and women who followed the tide into the dark after the Great Flood. Polynesian chants, long dismissed as allegory, speak of kin who grew new lungs and built homes of salt. The evidence builds, skeletal remains with elongated rib cages, strange ear canals adapted for pressure, genetic anomalies in modern islanders, markers of a lineage that seems to whisper, we were never alone on this planet, not aliens, not gods, not demons, but us, or rather, a version of us, those who chose the sea when disaster struck the surface. A humanity erased, their story forgotten or deliberately buried. The glyphs in the Basalt Library confirm it. When translated phonetically, they repeat a single refrain. We are the memory you abandoned. On board, the lead scientist stares at the phrase. They didn't vanish, he says quietly. They survived. They adapted. And we wrote them out of history. The biofilm pulses again, reshaping letters into a directive. Speak where all can hear. It is no longer content with secrets in the trench. The message is clear. Reveal the truth, not in labs, not in private, But before the entire world, the glyphs flare blinding white, and for the first time, the pulse changes, rising into a choral sound, a dozen voices chanting in unison, "Remember us." The demand is undeniable. Speak where all can hear. But how does one speak to an ocean? The answer lies not in machines, but in geometry. Acoustic engineers study the coordinates embedded in the glyphs. They point to a natural amphitheater beneath Honolulu Bay, a cavernous formation known for producing perfect echoes. Locals call it the Resonance Hall, a place where even a whisper can carry like thunder. Underwater chamber. The expedition team descends into the bay, lowering speakers deep into the chamber. For the first time in history, they broadcast not a pulse, but their voices. A declaration written in plain words: "We know you survived. We know your story was taken. We are ready to return it." The water trembles. Then from the abyss comes an answer, not pulses this time, but voices. Dozens, layered, human yet inhuman. A choral harmony rising through the water in Polynesian cadence, vowels stretched long and mournful, like the echo of ancient songs. On the surface, listeners freeze. The sound resonates not only through instruments, but through their bodies. Some cry, others stand in silence, trembling. It is a language no one understands, yet everyone feels. News spreads fast. Within hours, live streams from the ship rack up millions of views. Hashtags flare across social media. Hashtag Voices of the Deep. For the first time, humanity is not speculating about Atlantis or myths. It is hearing them sing. But the revelation stirs danger. Mining corporations, military officials, even heads of state warn the scientists to stop. "Do not broadcast again," one message reads. "You don't know what you're waking." And still the voices call, louder with each tide, as if summoning humanity to answer, not with secrets, not with silence, but with truth told openly. The scientists face a choice: obey the warnings or go public on the world stage. On the eve of a global summit, the biofilm glyphs on the Basalt Dome flare with one final command, blazing in letters so bright they burn the ROV's camera feed. Now. The United Nations Ocean Conference Hall is packed. Delegates lean forward as the expedition team prepares to reveal the recordings. On the main screen, the ocean's voice plays, low, harmonic, undeniably human. Gasps ripple through the chamber. For the first time in history, the abyss is not a rumor, not a myth, but a voice that answers back. As the broadcast continues, something remarkable happens far from the summit. In a fishing village on a Polynesian island, children playing on the shore begin tapping stones together. At first random, then rhythmic. 5, 3, 2, 5, 3, 2. Their game becomes a chant, their voices rising in perfect sync with the ocean's pulse. Within hours, similar reports surface across the Pacific. Schoolchildren in Samoa humming the same cadence, teenagers in Hawaii drumming on tables, unaware why the rhythm feels so natural. Geneticists confirm what elders have whispered for generations. Traces of an ancestral memory live within certain island populations, a lineage that connects them to those who once chose the sea. The revelation shakes the hall. This is not alien contact, not visitors from beyond. It is a reunion, a fractured humanity stitching itself back together after 12,000 years of silence. Yet not everyone celebrates. Governments fear unrest. Corporations see their deep-sea claims collapsing. Behind closed doors, delegates warn. If this truth spreads, borders will break. Control will vanish. The team refuses to stay silent. They release the recordings, the glyph translations, and the children's rhythms online. Within hours, the world is listening. For the first time, the hidden people are not myth, but family. But then, something unexpected. As the UN hall erupts in debate, the lights flicker. Screens across the chamber go black, and from the sound system, unbidden, the pulse returns. Only now, it is no longer 5-3-2. It shifts upward, stronger, vibrating through bones, through walls, through every delegate's chest. A rhythm that no machine broadcasts, yet every ear can hear. The ocean itself has joined the summit. The deep is speaking directly to the world. The UN chamber shudders with the ocean's pulse. Delegates clutch their headphones as the rhythm thunders through walls and skin alike. Translation software scrambles to process the sound, but the message is written in light, not speech. On the central screen, live footage streams from the Basalt Library. The glyphs blaze brighter than ever, each stroke rearranging with frantic urgency until they spell a phrase in 100 languages at once. We preserved. You forgot. Return our names. The hall erupts. Some rise in applause, others in panic. A mining executive slams his fist against the table. This is fabrication, a digital trick. We control those waters. But the lead scientist silences him. From her case, she produces a basalt fragment recovered from the gate. Under ultraviolet light, it flares alive with microscopic engravings, thousands of names, each etched like DNA strands. Lineages erased from surface history, preserved in stone beneath the sea. The chamber gasps. Entire genealogies shimmer on the walls, names long forgotten, chanted again as if resurrected. Delegates from small island nations stand and weep. Elders whisper, "Our ancestors return." This is the revenge, not war, not violence, but truth revealed publicly, in a place where no government or corporation can bury it. For centuries, the ocean kept their story hidden in basalt and salt. Now it forces humanity to confront the silence it created. Outside, millions are watching the live stream. On social media, the hashtag #return the name explodes. Streets fill with people drumming 5-3-2 on tables, on doors, on walls. For the first time, humanity does not just listen to the sea, it answers. Then, something even stranger. The ocean's pulse changes again, softening into a new pattern, 2-3-5. The sequence of growth. The sequence of Fibonacci spirals, of shells, of galaxies. The interpreters murmur. It's acknowledgement, one says. They heard us. They accept. Suddenly, the feed from the abyss flickers. The obsidian mirror stirs once more. Not with ruins, not with names, but with an image no one expected. A doorway opening beneath the Pacific, glowing as if inviting someone in. The doorway glows on the abyssal feed, brighter than any bioluminescence, brighter than any torch. Its edges curve like the horizon, a portal framed in basalt but alive with light. For a moment, it pulses with the old rhythm, 5-3-2. Then, with a new one, -2-3-5. A farewell, or an invitation. The UN chamber falls silent. No one speaks. Every screen in the world, every live stream, every phone tuned to the broadcast shows the same image, the gate opening at the bottom of the Pacific. Debates erupt in whispers. Should we go in? Some argue it could be the final step toward reunion, the forgotten descendants inviting us to share their world. Others warn it could be a trap, a lure into depths humanity cannot survive. The scientists argue too. This is not conquest, one insists. It's reconciliation. Another shakes his head. Or extinction. Outside, the world trembles. Across coastlines, children hum the rhythm unconsciously. Drums echo in villages and megacities alike. Humanity is synchronizing, not with governments or corporations, but with the ocean itself. Then the glyphs flare once more, their final message written in fire across the basalt dome. Choose to forget again, or to remember with us. The hall holds its breath. The gate widens. The abyss beckons. One ROV begins to move forward. Its lights vanish into the radiance. For a heartbeat, the feed cuts to static. Then, an image, fleeting and impossible. Towers of crystal, human figures swimming like dancers in a sky of water, eyes glowing with recognition. And then, darkness. The feed goes silent. The world is left suspended at the threshold. Do we follow? Do we remain? Do we risk unity or preserve ignorance? No answer is given, only the hum of the sea, steady, patient, eternal. The ocean waits. The choice is no longer theirs alone, it is ours.